I think a lot of people will be like, that's saturated, that's done. But there's a lot of way to reignite buzz or PR or celebrity endorsements and keep the ball rolling on it. Because once you have that traction, you don't want to let it go. If you can't set up automations to align your email communications with your customer's intent, you're already lost. TikTok Shop is by far our strongest channel, and we think about that as a strategic strength. You always kind of want to look at who's the legacy player and how do you kind of compete and disrupt the space. We're already, in the top 100 best-selling food and beverages brands on TikTok Shop. Any of the big breath fresheners that have been around forever are not even a part of that conversation. And so we know we can win in that space. And so we're hyper-focused on that. Like, that's where we stand out.
This episode is brought to you by Contentful. Marketers, you know that feeling when your creative clicks, when that social post sends engagement through the roof, when your outside of the box campaign hits ROI positive, when a personalized homepage turns prospects into customers? It's utter marketing bliss. Contentful helps you create tailored omni-channel experiences without working overtime. No stress, no limits, only possibilities. Get the feels at contentful.com. Welcome to the D2C podcast. Today, I'm joined by Thomas Robinson, a D2C growth operator who's built full funnel engines for brands like Tiege Henley, and now one of the most fun and fast-moving new brands out there, Breath Death. He's one of the few people who's cracked influencer marketing at scales, especially on YouTube. He's got a killer eye for turning chaotic traction into real structured growth. So welcome to the D2C podcast, Thomas. I'm glad we could connect.
Hey, Eric. I'm super excited to be here.
I wanted to just maybe start the podcast just by freshening up a little bit here. Like actually experiencing the crystal breath experience. The breath mints as pop rocks. I cannot believe this has not been done before. What drew you to Breath Death as an opportunity as a fractional CMO?
The main thing is the team, cultural fit. Like the team that's leading and founded the company are just rock stars with successful companies under their belt. And I think I'm always excited to be a part of a company that has incredible product market fit, a very strong perception of what their brand is and who they want to be, and a very innovative product. And there's nothing quite as fun as jumping into a company on the ground floor and just being a part of the rise and, fixing all the problems that come along with it. But there's that feeling that's contagious of that 0 to 1 million, 1 million to 10 million, hitting the big milestones, and every day is different. So finding the right company that's set up to hit those results and then just being a part of the hyper growth is it's just contagious. It's so fun to be a part of.
What's the TAM of gums and mint?
It's pretty massive. It's a huge industry across the world. Everyone seems to use some sort of breath freshener, whether it's a gum, a mint, a spray, a strip. There's all these different variations now. And we're the ones that's coming up with a new delivery device to freshen your breath on the go. That's kind of addictive. It's super fun. So it's something that most, coffee drinkers want. They keep it in their pocket. Most people use gum. But this is a very strong alternative to that. And I think when you start to use it, you just want that instant freshness, that icy freshness that you get with a mouthwash. And I don't think any alternative really delivers that.
Talk to me about initial results with this, because it's funny. I'm a elder millennial Gen Xer, and I have the nostalgia effect of pop rocks is so real. But it seems like a really Gen Z geared brand. Who is this resonating with most right now?
It's hard because it's the chicken or the egg. A lot of our ads are kind of geared to that 18 to 25. So we're, that's who we're resonating with. We're really kind of staying hyper focused on building content and pipelines that resonate with that demographic. US only for now, but we're going to look to expand. But we're definitely interested in, as we move into YouTube and YouTube influencers, we're seeing older demographics come in, still mostly male. But again, we don't know if that's a byproduct of the brand or just that's where our ads are going right now. So definitely Gen Z from conception. But, I think over time we'll find that that's a limiting assumption. And I'm excited to test different, demographics, different audiences as we scale.
How much learning can you take from like Liquid Death as an example? Because I feel like there's a lot of well, obviously there's death in the brand, but there's similarities in the sort of tone of the brand, I would say. Is there anything you think you can learn from the way they've been able to scale up so big?
Yeah, well, I think absolutely. I think just the buzz around such a aggressive positioning like just strikes conversation. You love it or you hate it, and being talked about is always a good thing. You want people to be kind of on different spectrums of how they feel about a brand that's, kind of going all out. I think that's what we've learned from them is hold steady on our positioning, hold steady on, we're not for everyone, but if you're, kind of a bold person that's open to new experiences, we're right for you. Instead of trying to appease to kind of every single type of person that may be more modest or more conservative. I think that's like a really strong approach. So I think just not trying to not offend or fit every single type of consumer, I think is a good strategy. And Liquid Death did that best. There's not a lot of people drinking water out of that bowl of a can. It wouldn't make sense to them. But then obviously there was a huge group of people that were like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I think making people choose is something I hear a lot. And I think it's, never a bad idea. Talk to me a little bit about so you've got this brand, it's innovated, it's an innovative product, it's got this neat, unique form factor, it has traction with some core audiences, there's unlimited potential for content with Crystal Breath or Breath Death or all these fun things. So how have you approached it in terms of turning that traction into something scalable?
Yeah, I think it's, like, again, I came on and the founding team already had such a great vision built out for it in terms of the brand and the targeting of Gen Z, like building a roster of incredible ambassadors, connections with like the UFC, WWE, Machine Gun Kelly, Logan Paul. Like these were founders that were part of the journey from conception. And I think what I've really done well is taking that initial buzz, that initial traction, and then building like funnels that kind of sustain themselves over time. Cutting up Mr. Beast resonates with a certain type of person and putting that in the right spot and building landing pages and retention flows that resonate for him. Whereas someone like Jake Paul is a bit more of an extreme character and a bit more of a, you love him or you hate him type of guy, and, using those assets more strategically for the right cohorts of customers. So it's like taking what was successful, what was already generating buzz, what was getting great CPMs and incredible engagement, and then building out dedicated like funnels for each of these assets that we had already.
I think that's a super great concept because these things are like just blips in time often too, right? Like you get this huge hit from these associations, but unless you're prepared to build, what you're talking about here, it can be something that just fades over time because we live in such a moment by moment society.
Yeah. And I think if you think of something like, I actually have it like, what is it called? Yeah. Neurogum. Like they had a moment where Joe Rogan organically mentioned them and they blew it up. And they were like kind of the goats of taking that asset, and they could have just, had that initial buzz and then let it fade. But instead they, stitched it together with ads and they kept the momentum up and they took that moment and they expanded on it. And so I think a lot of people will be like, that's saturated, that's done. But there's a lot of way to reignite kind of buzz or PR or celebrity endorsements and keep the ball rolling on it. Because once you have that traction, you don't want to let it go.
So I think you kind of mentioned it in brief there, but give me an example maybe of one of the moments that you were able to turn into a more always on funnel and where it worked, how it worked.
Yeah, like one clear example is Aiden Ross, who's a YouTuber, podcaster, Twitch streamer, had Mr. Beast on. And Aiden Ross is an ambassador for the brand, had the product with him, handed it to Mr. Beast, and he just like took a swig of it. And just his organic, authentic reaction to trying the product. And that moment could have died on the live stream, but we snipped it, we cut it up, and that moment we've sustained it. And Mr. Beast just has such loyalty, such credibility. I think the fact that it was an authentic reaction to trying the product was like even more engaging than if we gave him a script or anything like that. And, we have a whole campaigns isolated to that one 30-second authentic, beautiful reaction. And we kept it going, and it served us very well.
And so does that then translate into the video that you're posting on TikTok through to the landing page? Talk to me about a little bit about the nitty gritty about what you actually do with that clip to turn it into a full funnel.
Yeah. So I always think about meta ads in threes: hook, integration, like the sales messaging, and then a call to action. So taking strong hooks is actually one of the best things you can do for lowering CPMs, getting the strong engagement rates, and getting attention quickly. So Mr. Beast taking a swig of it, showing his face, is one of the best hooks. And then you can just make iteration after iteration on different integrations. Whether it's a sensation seeker that just wants to know what it's like with exploding crystals, whether it's problem solution of you have bad breath, this is the best way to cure it on the go, whether it's a confidence thing or credibility thing or a healthy ingredients component. And so you could stitch that hook with multiple integrations with multiple different CTAs. So a call to action of buying a bundle pack on a discount, or becoming a subscriber and saving, or a one-time purchase, try it risk-free without any kind of offer attached to it. And so when you think about it in threes and you stitch it in so many different ways, eventually you find a winning combination of the three. And then, the last piece outside of how it's stitched together is ensuring cohesiveness across to the landing page, right? So we have Mr. Beast there with his endorsement on the page from the ad, because I think if you send someone to a website after, they probably stopped because it was Mr. Beast, if you just don't keep that journey cohesive, you can kill momentum right there and just have high bounce rates, low conversion rates. So, getting the ad completely dialed in, finding the right combinations, and then building dedicated landing pages for them.
And TikTok Shop is just built for this as well.
Yes.
Is that where the bulk of the sales are coming now? Or give me a little breakdown of where the bulk of the sales are coming from now.
Yeah, so I think, we're kind of the classic D2C three, right? TikTok Shop, Shopify, and Amazon. TikTok Shop is by far our strongest channel, and we think about that as the most incremental strategic strength. And you always kind of want to look at, who's the legacy player and how do you kind of compete and disrupt the space? And we're already, in the top 100 best-selling food and beverages brands on TikTok Shop. Any of the big breath fresheners that have been around forever are not even a part of that conversation. And so we know we can win in that space. And so we're hyper-focused on that. Like, that's where we stand out. Amazon, I'm an Amazon expert. I spent a lot of my career focusing on Amazon. I worked at Amazon. We climbed, but that's not because of very technical PPC stuff we did on Amazon. That's because of the halo from TikTok Shop, from GMV Max, from, the 600 new affiliates that we sign up every single month, the 1,400 organic pieces of content from all these people talking about us a month. And so you got to think of your sales channels not in isolation, but holistically. TikTok Shop is the reason why we're doing so well on Amazon. You can see it from the brand search volume of Breath Death on Amazon and how it corresponds with the impressions engagement we get. TikTok Shop by far is, it's the Wild West still, but the people that have figured it out, it's just a massive, massive channel, especially if you're going into kind of the legacy industry, like dominated by people that have been around forever.
And then affiliates. That's the other TikTok Shop, and affiliates just are so great. I remember it was Tab's Sex Chocolate actually came on the podcast in our first year, and they were doing really well before I think the affiliate program came out with just basically they were kind of making affiliate accounts on their own. I think they're using Social Snowball. Are there any tools that go into your affiliate program, or do you just kind of use the native TikTok affiliate capabilities?
We set up some automations. I always think, you can think of affiliates in threes too, conceptually of nano, micro, mid-tier, and then macro influencers. And for the smaller creators, let's say sub 5,000 followers, a lot of that we do through automated systems, automated onboarding, automated reach out, kind of send them a repository of speaking notes and guardrails, lower commission. And we just do that at scale. Having a lower AOV product, seeding isn't an issue for us. You can seed out lots of product. And if half the micro influencers post once and drive 2 sales, the economics work out. But when you get to like the bigger creators, you really want to stop them from being a part of like automated outreach. And you kind of want to do a little bit more white glove service for them. Because then it's not just about the video and the commission you're giving them. It's about building a relationship, making them feel a part of the brand, part of the journey. Usually there's some sort of contractual like flat fee payment involved in, the million plus follower accounts. And so those we do through, we have automated systems in place, but there's not a particular tool that helps. It's more about the relationship building and finding ways to foster a relationship without them feeling like, oh, I'm just getting an automated AI message. And so you definitely don't want to burn bridges. I've seen, brands reach out to very credible, very strategic brand partners with a automated AI email. You're going to burn a bridge right out of the gate with that. And so you got to be careful.
I should know this, but is TikTok Shop the same as Amazon in that you don't get the customer email?
You technically get it.
Okay.
You don't get marketing consent through it. So
got it.
There's no kind of Shopify. You can have something at checkout where you get that automatically. You get their shipping address, you get their email, you get their phone number, but you don't get marketing consent because we still fulfill it through our, Shopify 3PL, right? So it's like Amazon, you don't get any of that because they fulfill the order. So they don't need to give it to you.
You're big on YouTube as a growth channel. Why do you think it's so overlooked?
I think it's just because it's less, in many like brands' minds, it's less scalable, more manual, less of that immediate jump. People love a TikTok affiliate because you drop it into GMV Max. You get the paid reach. If it converts, it gets picked up through the systems. It's low risk because if it's not picked up by GMV Max and it's just to their audience, you just pay on a portion of sale. YouTube, you're never really going to find that. There is YouTube affiliates. I've never seen a lot of people get traction on it. You might get, 5% of your creator sales through, people signing up to your evergreen affiliate offer on YouTube. But really, YouTube is about looking at different verticals that have your TAM. For Breath Death, it would be 90% US males between 18 and 25 interested in dating and fashion, like in fitness or cigar smokers that want to fix their breath, and then getting very clear about what you want to do. And then it's manual relationship building. It's contacting them, getting their rates, coming to a deal, building long-term partnerships. Because like, if you think about how much work it is to do everything I just said, if you're thinking about a YouTube influencer as one deployment and then they're gone, you just did all that work for nothing, right? You may not hit your CPA after one deployment. It's all about building long-term, 2 deployments a month for 6 months, and then it compounds. And it's also a self-service, like retargeting funnel, right? If you follow a certain creator, they deploy once, you're like, oh, that looks cool, but I forgot. The second time you see it, you're like, oh, like now I actually want to try it. Like whatever you said this second time resonated. And it keeps compounding over time. It doesn't have that big spike of a TikTok or a Meta where it hits, you spend against it, you get all the sales, you turn it off and it crashes. YouTube, you can have a video about, something evergreen, like top 10 ways to impress, a date. That video can drive sales for years to come. And so if you look at it holistically, you're not worried about an instant spike of sales, and you just look at all the money you spend on YouTube, how many sales you're getting. You do it right, often it could be your most efficient channel, because a lot of brands don't want to go through the hassle of kind of everything I just said, of like being patient, finding the right people, building relationships, and letting it compound over time.
The gift that keeps on giving, because and you're using their connection to their audience each time. Their audience is growing at the same time. It's just more of a flywheel than a one-time ad.
Exactly. It's great for SEO. It's great for domain authority. It's great for generative like AI search optimization. Like I think there's a reason we do so well on ChatGPT and organically. It's because we have so much authority in the space. There's no affiliate UTMs attached to it, so it does better for SEO. It's a beautiful, beautiful strategy.
Are you talked about on Reddit? I feel like Reddit fuels so much of the LLMs that having a good vibes on Reddit has got to be good for SEO as well.
You know what? Like we are good on Reddit, and we've done that we've considered so many kind of Reddit growth strategists, but a lot of them are black hat of like, we're going to get all these robotic accounts, create all these subreddits, and so I always am hesitant of that because it can kill a brand's credibility so quickly. So being able to foster a real authentic community, be a part of the conversations on Reddit, that is a massive opportunity. I just haven't found a credible way to do it because, like you said, a lot of the Reddit strategy isn't going to be through direct click and buys. It's going to be through domain authority, SEO, AI search, appearing in LLMs, et cetera.
Talk to me about the meta environment when you're trying to sell a product as low an AOV as this one is. That one's got to be a challenge.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to win the game of lower CPMs through very strong hooks. It just like, if you think about Google, you win on a keyword bid from a combination of the bid you set and the relevance of the ad. On Meta, it's the bid you set and the quality of the ad. And so highly engaged ads, you can get lower CPMs with the same audience. And so if you got to find what angle you have to win. And if you can't win on contribution margin on a transactional level or AOV, then you got to win through better CPMs and then having landing pages that have high conversion rates. So, impressions, your CPM, your click-through rate, your landing page CVR, look at them across the board, and then have targets for them. If my CPM isn't here, it's probably never going to work. If I can't get people off the ad to my landing page, it's probably not going to work. And if they land on the page and they're not converting, something's broken. So looking at the 3 for each ad or each campaign and being like, oh, I can see the issue here. It's the landing page conversion rate. I got to fix that. Or my CPMs are high because no one's engaging in my ads. I got to fix my hooks, and so you just got to be very kind of systematic, and you need a creative, the person conceptualizing the new topics. And then you kind of need someone like me that's like looking at the big picture and helping the team put their effort in the problem that's going to have the highest impact.
Do you have angles that work that aren't cut-ups and of these celebrity moments? Do you have ones that just sort of work on like freshen your breath, new thing, or do you think you require those types of partnerships to make it work?
I think with like Meta's ecosystem now of it all being like programmatic and get your pixel set up, use something like Elevar or have server-side tracking, make that very clear, and then having a broad-based audience with Advantage Plus with like a very kind of little seed to it. It's all about Meta is matching the ad to the right audience. So like the days of hyper-focused targeting are gone, and that was a long way of saying that. But with that being done, if you don't have a variety of ads, Mr. Beast isn't for everyone. Logan Paul is not for everyone. Machine Gun Kelly's not for everyone. So we have other ads that we kind of classify by archetype, where we do, we have skip-based ads, which are heavy on the hook and the brand, building a brand impact, but it doesn't drive a lot of sales. But then we also have UGC testimonial ads. We have This Changed My Life. I smoke 5 cigars a day and now my wife doesn't hate me anymore. You have to have a variety of different ads that all serve a different purpose. And so, yeah, we do. And usually they're hit at different points in the funnel with different types of ads, but you should have lots of different concepts and then look at it by the cigar smoker, like problem solution, testimonial, celebrity endorsement, UGC, whatever it is, and then make sure you have a variety of ads because you get too isolated, you're never going to hit a certain type of customer.
And you don't want to go by necessarily broad segments. You want to go by deeper psychographics. Like, to me, the thing I keep hearing on the podcast, you want people to understand. You want to understand why people are using the product as well, in a way, whether it's confidence for going on a date or if it's all these like underlying motivations as to why the product could be a big important part of their life or whatever. And getting at those underlying things are really what draws people to the ad.
100%. And I think like it sounds silly, but like you can use names. Look at your, like step 1 is like, I recommend everyone does this. Pull your reviews, have AI analyze by sentiment and try to find commonalities of why people love your product. And for us, at Breath Death, you could look at sensation seekers, which is what we call them, but like people that just are curious about exploding mint crystals, or you have confidence, people that like, what can I do to feel better on a date? And I think bad breath, whether it's in the top of your mind or in the back of your mind, it's always there, And so going after like never even have to worry about this again. Some people are like very, very like, maybe they've been called out and they're actively looking for a solution to bad breath. That is a different type of ad. And so like, yeah, exactly that. Figure out your psychographics, your archetypes, and then classify each ad by each concept. And then over time, you'll find the types that win, and you'll drop some. You'll be like, oh, that's not important anymore as you scale. And then there'll be a new one that pops up. And so, yeah, you got to stay very close to that. That's a great call out.
I think when we first connected, it was pretty early days for you guys. You guys were definitely, you'd seen traction, some big sales from these press hits or whatever. Because it's been over a month or two since maybe we last spoke. What was Q4 like, and what's the trajectory like for Breath Death as you scale this?
Yeah, Q4 was massive for us. We're lucky because we got into some like Amazon pinned placements, so we got incremental exposure through that. And like again, one of the big things that every entrepreneur should do is networking. You never know who can help you get something, whether it's through a software that you use, building a relationship with your account manager to build in a feature or push a beta to you faster, or your Amazon rep, your Google rep, your Facebook rep, your TikTok rep. Like, keep those relationships going. I know everyone's busy, but like it is very, very important to keep those alive. And like the momentum of us, like at Breath Death now, is kind of building off of all that acquisition we did in Q4, and now product expansion and really building LTV, fostering that connection, and really making it a part of their routine. And then like now it's an LTV game. It's so fun when it kind of switches. There'll always be this tension of effort of marketing of LTV, like expansion, contribution margin per customer increase, or lowering your CPAs and getting more volume. And it's a pendulum that kind of swings in priorities. But, most brands after Q4, CPAs are going to go back up, and now it's all about maximizing your LTV.
And so you have a retention program with email for everyone who buys through Shopify or buys through the checkout there. Is that a big part of the retention strategy? And because I guess on the platforms where you don't have it, it really becomes a partnership game with affiliates where you're using them to remarket and bring people, keep you top of mind with that audience. But how do you think about retention, I guess, on the email side?
Segmentation, do all the foundational stuff and don't skip steps is like a big one. Look at your triggers. Make sure you have comprehensive triggers for link clicks on different products, and isolate every bit of information that aligns. Again, you can go back to your psychographic or your customer, but if you can't set up automations to align your email communications with your customer's intent, you're already lost, So I think you can take what you did on Meta and just repurpose it for Klaviyo or Attentive or whatever you use, and build comprehensive flows. Like segment by engagement too, because also know that it's omni-channel now. It's not email, it's SMS, it's DM automations through ManyChat, it's WhatsApp, building dedicated groups. But I would say the big ones that people are missing are DM automations for sure. WhatsApp is honestly incredible once you use it correctly. SMS, I think, is fading a little bit, but you can use it strategically. You just don't want to bombard on SMS. So getting your flows and your automations dialed in, and then also thinking about it very omni-channel of talk to the customer where they want to be talked to.
So you have these ongoing big partnerships that are paying dividends. I guess that's a never-ending process. You're going to kind of continually look for like high-level ambassadors who are big in culture, who are the right fit for this product. Is that's still an ongoing part of it?
Yeah, I think, we think about like an ambassador as, someone that's deeply, deeply rooted in the brand. And then you also have influencers that are maybe more just like paid deals, but consistent paid deals. But we're always on the hunt for, someone that has, a new audience or new approach of promoting the brand where they can get us in front of new eyeballs and kind of captivate them and be that initial touch point. But it's still one of the best ways to build instant credibility, which is these people, like one of the biggest things is that they genuinely love the product and believe in it, and that can be felt instantly. And so like you're always on the hunt. Not only do they have the quantitative like audience and reach and those types of things, but also like it's something you feel of like, do they genuinely love this? Are they going to promote this?
Are they going to make it a ritual? Right?
Yeah. Are they going to be like, yeah, you can kind of see, I have people I talk to that, show me on the call that they're taking the product back. And I'm like, oh, this is actually something that's in their lifestyle that is going to be felt through the audience. So yeah, it's ongoing. It's all the time looking for the right people to add to the portfolio and to the marketing mix.
It sounds right now you guys are very much in that block and tackle, scale it up kind of phase. But when I think about, I brought up Liquid Death to start, and the thing that once they were really looking for like crazy scale, they really went heavy into creative storytelling. Their ad creative and their concepts were so far out there and so interesting, and so like they kind of created their own media company around all of their crazy creativity. Do you guys have plans in the future for creating any sort of like similar kinds of content? Are you creating that kind of content already?
Can you kind of like say that one more time in a way?
Well, do you know, are you familiar with Liquid Death's sort of like, they just kind of continually come out with frame changing creatives. Like I forget what it was. It was like, oh, put your face on our box, or kind of, or I think it's, how their VIP list is like, you sell your soul kind of thing to be on their VIP list. They have all this, they put out all this content that's sort of like, not really about water. You know what I mean? Like it's about all these other funny things around the industry. And I feel like they kind of created a media company just by putting out all this like interesting, highly produced content. And I'm curious if you guys have any plans around like more highly produced creative content to build the brand.
Absolutely. And, I definitely don't claim to be the genius behind that. Like we do have a creative strategist and like, but yeah, there's so much in the backlog that I probably can't talk about of like new incredible angles and kind of that shift. I think what you're alluding to is like going from that fast-paced direct response ads, that polished top of funnel piece that you can run on like YouTube in-stream, connected TV. That's like, maybe more of a, skippable format where you're forced attention on people. And when you do that, like a skippable, like in-stream ad, like then it needs to be so incredibly entertaining and polished that it's worth the squeeze. And it's high production costs. But when you create ads like that are more about an emotional connection, like brand recall, that fits so well, especially once you get to that like 2 to 5 million range. Like those can help you, like once you start running those at scale, then you see your meta go up, your organic brand go up, your direct sales go up, and it raises the whole funnel. So yeah, I think you got to think about this kind of like 3 months ahead of when you need it, because you don't want to saturate your audience and then be like, what do I do now? My funnels are dying. You always got to have that top of funnel awareness and get a really smart creative director to help make sure that they're producing the right thing, because you can miss pretty quick on that.
I got a free idea for you.
Okay, give it to me.
Remember the Mentos commercials? Those European commercials where it's like do 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 wah, and it's like someone that gets in a fun situation and then they pop a Mento. But you could be like the Death Maker, and you could do like a take on like the old school Mentos commercials, but instead of the Fresh Maker, it's the Death Maker, and you could do something funny where someone like maybe they die. I don't know.
You know what? And I love that too, because you can imagine the Gen Z versus the like older demographics like fighting about it, being like, this is a ripoff, and be like, that's so cool. Yeah, I think that's so fun. So.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast today. I'm excited you live in town here, so we'll have to get together for a drink. We're doing a little meetup in Vancouver that I'll invite you to after this, and let's stay in touch. I'm really excited for your growth here. Next time we can maybe, I don't know if it's your purview to talk about, but I'm interested in your retail plan as well, because ultimately that's where 95% of products like this are probably bought, right? Or in gas stations.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the next big frontier, and definitely excited to meet you for a drink and talk through some more stuff. And one little plug is I talked a lot about like landing page cohesiveness and like personalizing your landing pages to your ad. I've been an advisor for this company called Influence Owl that does exactly that. So it takes your UTMs, if your campaign equals Mr. Beast, and your landing page will dynamically insert all of his content. So the days of kind of building landing pages at scale, having all this tech debt, duplicated landing pages with slight tweaks, you can just have one page and have everything personalized very quickly and seamlessly. So
Love that.
Definitely check that out because that changes everything. And if
What
you're
is it
not
again?
winning on influencers, it's called Influence Owl.
Influence Owl. Cool.
It's now a Shopify approved app. It'll be in the public store soon, but we have the website up. Tons of like brands are like wanting to be a part of this, but we have a small beta open for a few. And it's so clear that personalized experiences are converting way higher than a default template. So
I learned this in 2005 or 6, I think, when I was being an affiliate marketer, and I was realizing that the more congruent your funnel was, and it's funny, I think it was one of the first when we started this company, it was one of the first like webinars we did was just all about like post-click and the landing page experience, because I feel like it's still one of the most underappreciated levers that brands have in their toolkit. And it's really cool to hear about it in this hyper modern perspective of what it's like in TikTok when you're dealing with these social Gen Z funnels, how important it is, especially in this context.
It's even more important, I think, now more than ever. With the programmatic nature, there's a lot less on the targeting setup and creative targeting match. Now it's all about clear understanding of your customers, ad diversification, and landing page diversification. So you can kind of get rid of targeting, but your landing pages now are everything. And if you look at things like Google, they're pulling assets from your landing page. So you need it to be personalized and aligned. And so, yeah, I think it's a huge opportunity for basically everyone listening.
Amazing. Well, let's leave it there and we'll connect again soon. Thanks for coming on the podcast today, Thomas. This was awesome.
Thanks, Eric. It was super fun. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at directtoconsumer, all one word, .co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.